Welcome to the third episode of Valorant 101, where I, Spotty, show you how to get better at Valorant one step at a time. Last episode we went through some basic drills to work on. These drills have helped us to get passively better at Valorant. And as mentioned in the video that I'll be talking about strafing in this video, I've also decided to add a few extra tips about the different movement speeds that relate to the different weapon types. I've put the timestamp down in the comments below if you want to navigate to any section that you want to work on. Otherwise, let's get into the first segment of this guide. Before we get a grasp on how to strafe, we need to first understand how movement in Valorant works. Valorant movement is very simple, unlike other games like Rainbow Six Siege or PUBG, where they have things like lean left, lean right, and prone. Valorant simply has our running movement, crouching movement, walking movement, as well as jumping movement. In a later video, I will show you how to bunny hop, but for now, let's keep this basic so we don't try to overwhelm ourselves. To show you how these movements compare in speed, Louis and I have put it to the test. For those of you who don't know who Louis is, he's one of my engineering mates and mods on my Twitch streams. Feel free to come say hi to him on my Twitch streams. That will be on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 7 PM New Zealand times. I will leave that down in the description below. These tests were done with our knives out, as most of you would have figured out by now that when you switch to your knife, you'll have the fastest possible speed in game. The first test we conducted was crouch versus walking. As you can see, Louis was able to reach the wall faster than I was, as he was walking and I was crouching. This test shows us that the walking movement is roughly 1.5 times the speed of crouch movement, as I got 2/3 of the way to the wall with the crouch movement, and the same time Louis was able to reach the wall with walking movement. Next test was crouch movement versus running movement, on screen right now.
I don't think you have any idea how fast I really am. I'm fast as fuck, boy.
As you can expect, Louis was able to reach the wall much faster with running movement than I was able to with crouching movement. I managed to reach 1/3 of the way to the wall by the time he managed to reach the wall. This means that running movement is 3 times the speed of crouching movement. Lastly, we compared walking movement with running movement on screen right now. And the test concluded that the running is 1.5 times the speed of walking, which we could have figured out mathematically from the previous 2 tests. In the future, I'll conduct more tests comparing bunny hopping to the 3 basic movements to show you the advantage of bunny hopping. But these results should help us in future games to decide which movement to use. Keep in mind that running movement is the only movement that will make noise, which means that the enemy will know where and when you're coming around the corner. Whereas walking and crouching will not alert the enemy but are significantly slower. Now that we have a basic understanding on how movement works in Valorant, let's look at how we can use this movement to our advantage. In the shooting range, we're going to navigate to our settings and then to the crosshair setting. And here's my recommended settings for this training. Make sure to note down your own settings before we navigate through these, as that way you can change them back once you have the hang of strafing. Or if you enjoy using this crosshair type, please let me know down in the comments. Choose whichever color you feel comfortable with. Turn outlines off, turn center dot off, fade crosshair with firing error off, and this one is up to you. I personally like to keep it on just in case I see someone using a crosshair I like the look of. Next, turn your inner line opacity to 1, change the length to 10 with a thickness of 2, and adjust your offset to 3, then turn on your movement error and keep firing error off. Finally, turn your outer line opacity to 0. Now, you'll notice when you purchase a ghost that when you move around, the crosshair will spread when moving and go back to normal when you're standing still. This is why you sometimes didn't get that shot you thought you had because your inner crosshair was aiming at the target, but you had been moving, which means that the actual spread of your gun was much wider than it should have been if you're standing still. The easiest way to practice strafing is by holding down the A key and then pressing the D key as soon as you're about to shoot, and vice versa like this. Notice that when you counteract the movement, you get 100% accuracy. This works while walking and crouching. But also notice that when walking and crouching, the movement error is reduced significantly. I'll cover more advanced strafing tactics in the future, but for now, let's nail the basics by practicing this side-by-side strafing movement. This works really nicely if you have a mechanical keyboard, as you can feel and hear when the buttons are being clicked. And you'll also be able to see when the crosshair reduces in size, which means you're taking 3 prime senses for gaming. If you can also smell or taste it, then I worry about you. But it could also help. Somehow. I don't know. Anywho, hit the practice button below the start button, and what we're going to do is stick with the ghost since we've been practicing with this bad boy. And now, go ahead and try to replicate the side-by-side movement you see on screen. Hold down either the A or D button, then counteract it with the other button to stop the movement. And once you see that crosshair go down in size, hit the target. Rinse and repeat this method as much as you can, as this technique will help you grasp the fundamentals of strafing. And once you've gotten good at it, then in the more advanced videos to come, we'll look into how this strafing technique can help you gain an edge on your opponents. Now, for an extra tip and knowledge for you guys, I've also conducted a few tests on the movement speeds of different gun types. To help me with this, I had Louis and Megan help me out by getting them to race each other while holding different guns. The results of these tests concluded with the following speed ranks of different guns. So, obviously we know Knife is going to be the fastest, closely followed by Classic Frenzy and Ghost, which means that these guns are the quickest guns you can hold while running. Shortly after that, the Stinger and Spectre, these are the SMGs. The SMGs were also really quick compared to every other gun. After that, Shorty, Sheriff, and the Marshal were followed by the SMGs. Then, in number 5, we have the rifles, the Guardian, Bulldog, Phantom, and Vandal. These were also all the same speed and were much slower than the Shorty, Sheriff, and the Marshal. Lastly, the slowest guns we have are the Bucky, Judge, Ares, Odin, and Operator. Bucky and Judge, these are the 2 shotguns. Ares and Odin, these are the 2 LMGs, the heavy guns. And Operator is the one-shot sniper rifle. So next time you want to keep your Operator on hand while rotating sights, you might want to keep a Ghost or Frenzy as a secondary if you want to rotate quicker and still be able to shoot. Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this guide helpful, please squish that like button, slap that subscribe, tickle the bell icon, and caress me with your comments. I'll make sure that the next video is available in the top right of the screen about now, and if it's not, then you better hit that bell icon so you know when it does come out. Lastly, catch me streaming on Twitch where I openly give advice and help others grow on Valorant. I also do subscriber games, and I'm more than happy to answer any question you might have about Valorant. I've left all my social media links down below, and I'll be seeing you shortly for another episode on Valorant 101.